Good morning, everybody. Mike Vacchi, Princetontrader.com, here with your Monday market webcast. All right, so we are in the midst of a lower Bollinger Band ride that's been going on for, well, basically 5 sessions, going back to last Tuesday. What you've consistently seen, and we talked a while ago about the 50-day exponential moving average being open, and they tested it a little bit on Friday, not really, and they're kind of in the zone of it today. It's bound basically 44.56, 44.57, depending on what moment of the day you're looking at. The 9-day there, which is the blue line, has been holding things in. The weekly pivot, let's go to the hourly chart. Last week, weekly pivot held things in like a champ. It was in kind of a range, but the vast majority of these are little lower lows. So you got lower lows, weekly pivot resistance. Friday was pretty close to the vest. There really wasn't a whole heck of a lot going on. You had a little bit of a spike there to open the day, but I mean, aside from that, there was not much going on at all. From a trading perspective, they opened it up down at 44.59. They ran it up to 44.93, which is a nice little move, but by 10 o'clock in the morning, it was pretty tight. About an 8 to 10 handle chop range throughout the majority of the day, which was fine because Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday were fantastic days to trade. We have a new weekly pivot at 44.96. They took it up as high as 45.01 last night, so it tested the roundie, tested the weekly pivot. That held. They're bringing it in again. We're below the hourly mid-band, which comes in at 44.82, and we're reaching down towards the 50-day moving average here, which is right there at 44.77.78. That is the simple moving average, which is fine. You got the simple moving average, 77s. You've got the exponential coming in a little bit lower. In this, the other thing I would mention is we are, you're talking about front month versus continuation contracts and things like that. The reality is, however you measure it, whether it's simple, exponential, or whatever, the 50-day is the next thing. If the bears are going to continue to progress and they want to get down to the 100 and the 200 and do all the horrible things that you read about on Twitter every day, the next thing is you got to convert the 50. You converted the 9, you converted the 20, this is the next thing. They've done a pretty good job the last 2 sessions of holding things below 4,500. That was important as well. We talked about that last week. If you're the bears, you want to do exactly what you did this morning. You really want this to be the only look at weekly pivot all week long, if you can do that. If you can do that, then by the time you get into Thursday, Friday, you're going to get some nice directional price action to the downside, okay? If you're the bulls, what do you want to do? Well, you got to climb back on top of here. You got to hold the 50, climb back on top of weekly pivot, deal with the 9-day, come back to these highs, and then look a hell of a lot better than you have every time you've gone back up. So it's a Monday. I tend to go into Monday with very little opinion about what the market's going to do. The only thing I would say is it's already demonstrated a little bit of weekly pivot resistance. If it can take out that 44.59, that's a good start for the bears this week. Conversion of the 9-day and a close above the 9-day there, which is 45.06, would be a good start of the week for the bulls. Other numbers, volume weighted average price 44.84. Proprietary moving average is sitting up at 89. So for me, 80 to 89 is going to be the chunk of price that we probably fight over off the open. And as far as the type of open, here's my stuff. I would not be surprised if, mid-morning, it makes a fairly definitive high or a fairly definitive low that could then break out to a lower low or a higher high, which would be some nice trading, which would be some very nice trading. And what you've seen, and it's very characteristic of the lower band ride that we're in on the daily chart, is you tend to see it make highs earlier in the day. Here's a 10 a.m. high. This was earlier in the morning. We open here. That's noon. So what we've seen in the mornings is you've seen some highs break to lower lows and run down. And then you spend the afternoon watching the bears or the bulls rather, fight back. But the bears have done a good job here and here of controlling the close. So look, the overall thought on this week is this is really the bears to screw up. It's teed up pretty well for some downside if they can continue to press. They just have to keep executing the way they have. And it's the same complaint I've always had with the bears. They just have to execute. This right here, this is executing. Making these lower lows are executing. Look, it's allowed to bounce. That's called profit taking. That's called short covering. But as long as that's followed up with lower lows and you continue to defend areas like this, that's a good job. So I rarely praise the bears, which is probably the kiss of death, but they've done a good job of executing and defending these pops to the upside, because pops are going to happen, and we are significantly below the 20-day. So we're in a sell rallies market. So what have I always said about the rallies? You can be long, you can stand aside, don't fight them short. Because yeah, you're doing great here, but if you're some perma bear where you just everything looks like a nail because you're an idiot, then you give all your money back screwing around, fighting this, bitching and moaning. Then it goes down, it's like, yeah, I told you so. Oh, okay, great. Well, net, how did that go? Or you puke it up here, get all pissed off, then you get back in down here, and then you're just a walking mess. So these rallies, you can be long, you can sit out, don't fight them short. Don't fight them short. And really work on yourself to the point where you can be a functional two-sided trader, because your life will get a hell of a lot easier. All right. Everybody have a fantastic day. Be safe, be healthy, take care, trade them well. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Follow us over on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Princeton Trader. Check us out on Facebook and join us for a free trial at www.princetontrader.com. Trade them well.